Okay, this one is about filling out the service invoice. A couple of people have asked me about how to do it. It seems like it might be pretty obvious how to do it, but as with most things, it really isn't. Okay, this one here is the replacement of a gas valve using flat rate. That means flat rate just means there's one price that includes labor and materials for the repair. Okay, starting up the top, fairly obvious: name, address, phone. If there's a site address, if the billing address is different than the site address, there's a spot for one there. Now on the parts, you got a part number and a gas valve. Now you notice there's no price for the part because this is flat rate. It's all going to be included. Okay, this is probably the most important part here of this whole thing. You're going to describe what you found. Now I say found gas valve open. That means open electrically. Be short on these things, but be complete. You need to say exactly what the problem is that you found. If you found 2 or 3 things, you got to mark all of them on there. Okay, what was the work you did? You replaced, you checked the gas input at 80,000 BTUs, and that come off the plate. You put this kind of stuff in there because you're trying to be complete with telling someone what you actually did. Remember, this invoice may be looked at months or even years later to see what you did. And if you're not complete in what you put in there, then you have no idea of what actually happened or what was done. You're not going to remember it. Okay, you check for leaks. Put everything that you did down. You know, if you did, well, like here we have clean the flame rod. Okay, that's something I do with every furnace I get into. No matter what repair I'm doing, I clean the flame rod. But note that you did it. Okay, you're going to check the heat exchanger. Now, be fairly specific here on the heat exchanger because there's many ways to check a heat exchanger. You start out with a simple check with a flashlight and watch for the flame change when the fan starts. That would be done with any furnace repair. One of the reasons here being that when you repair a furnace, if the furnace has a major problem like a cracked heat exchanger, you may want to consider whether you want to do, or whether the customer wants to put that much money into this thing that could be dangerous. So you tell them what you did. There's all sorts of other ways, or CO detectors and all the rest of that you could all do. If you do it, then put it in there. Okay, I'm also recommending an annual service be performed. If the furnace has not been serviced every year, and I believe they should be serviced every year, you can note that you think it should be done. In this case, the customer did not want to have the annual service done, so it was not marked over here in the amount. Okay, now we got $310 for the repair, parts and materials. The labor hours are 0 because this is flat rate. We go flat rate, $310. No parts on this one because we're not charging for it anyway. Travel and diagnostic charge. That's a charge that you charge to come to the customer's location and determine what the problem is. Now in this case, we have 10 miles of mileage at $2 a mile. The reason that's in there is he was outside the service area. You usually have a radius that you'll go to in around your area. And if it's beyond that, you will charge mileage for how many miles out and back. So if it's 5 miles out and 5 miles back, then you charge 10 miles. Sales tax and grand total. Okay. Other things that are on this invoice that are very important. Whenever you do a furnace or an air conditioner, check supply, return, and the delta T, which of course is the difference between the two. That's just determining how the system's running and if it's running correctly. Here's one of them down the very bottom, the last part of this thing. Gets missed quite a bit. Brand, model, serial. Now in most cases you don't need a serial number to order parts for this furnace, but you don't know how many of these furnaces are in here. You know, someone else maybe look at this invoice later and they'll say, well, okay, here's the model number, but there was 3 of them there, so which one is it? So part of that is just determining that. Now, this is one of the important things that must be on there and must be complete. So let's go over quickly what the most important parts. Okay, be complete on your description of what you did. Do any tests that you think are necessary, like the supply and return and the model and serial number. Okay, I hope this helps. I'll do one on time materials also later on.